It
let's
did
just
take.
assume. Let's just assume we're live. Hey, Bonima, how are you doing?
I am well, Callum. How are you?
I'm really good, thank
Long
you.
time no see.
Yeah, exactly. Marcin's off today. He's at the top of a mountain somewhere, and we've had a few technical issues with this new streaming tool we're using. So he's been helping me. How's your week been?
Busy, very busy as usual.
Mhm.
I'm commuting to the city these days for a job, so that's keeping me on my toes. But apart from that, I think it's all is well. All is well in the.
I'm also commuting today. I am actually not in my usual place. I am at Umbraco HQ. We're in the Campari room, so I'm not going to even attempt to move around and show you. But yeah, this is where the unicorn has been recorded. There's all kinds of things that have gone on in this room. Relatively busy week in Umbraco land, and maybe we should just kick off with the big product update that Jacob shared earlier this week. So yeah, I think it's every month or every 2 weeks now that they're sharing an update on what's been going on, and this covers all kinds of stuff like the recent security advisories and the rich text editor, some news on Umbraco Cloud. They've removed profile pictures and they've improved the UI for managing baselines. I don't know if people can see that. There's some nice Harry Potter references in here for all the users. And just some general updates on product roadmap. Did you see the news about media tracking?
Yes, the RFC, the new RFC, I think.
Yeah,
And I think it's one of the new things which Rune as a product manager is taking on board.
exactly.
And coming with ideas and solutions. But all I can say is, just as Nathan says there, it's going to be a very, very good addition to the core product.
Yeah.
Yeah, as developers, we all know what the situation is when someone just goes and deletes a media somewhere, and then we have probably panic running side, which is very usual. So I think this is one of the good things. Of course, there are packages like Nexu, but I think it's high time we have something inbuilt to Umbraco in the core.
It's not for V8, so we're actually getting something in the core of V8 that will help us do that. And I think it fixes a bunch of other issues as well, that like workflow issues with, let's say, Umbraco Cloud and deploy. So being able to know if media is used anywhere, or if actually I'm deploying a dead reference, for example. I think that would be really cool, very powerful.
Absolutely. On that note, I think we have a very related topic. I think the packages, the Google Docs which Neil shared earlier this week about packages, I think that's quite a powerful one in itself, about packages. The idea being
this was my next topic.
Yeah, so see, being on Umbraco Scoop keeps me on over the top of all the news that comes out of Umbraco and the community out there. Quite a strong, I wouldn't say RFC because it's not an RFC yet. It's a shared doc, but I think there are some really good points here, and I think the moral to take away from it is the ecosystem is quite huge, just as Neil's replied to my tweet. And there's going to be more than one definition for packages, and it's not going to be just packages. There are more than just packages. Of course, you have your packages which helps you do things as a developer, like management kind of stuff, like the deploys, Dan's deploy, God mode, and audit.
Yeah.
Ones.
Yeah,
and then you have proper packages which gives you an addition on top of what the CMS offers in terms of data types and property editors. And then there is content apps, which is a totally different thing, which is an add-on experience again. So I think it is growing. The definition of package is growing, which is great to see.
Yeah.
And it reveals that a lot more documentation needs to come out of Umbraco as well, out of the HQ as well. Personally, one thing I'm so happy about is that the need for documentation about package creation has been addressed in that doc. I personally cannot remember the number of times I've voiced that in Court Garden, the chats on Friday. So very happy, very much looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
It's really, you're right. It's really good to see an increased focus from HQ on this package ecosystem, which is massive and is kind of the beating heart of the community, I think, and making sure we've got this rich functionality. Bringing that sort of stuff into core makes a bunch of sense for something like one of these features out of Nexu. But the documentation point is really interesting too, and you're absolutely right that when you're building lots of different complex things, documentation sometimes can be lacking. I'm not going to spoil anything, but before we went live, Niels was in fact teasing me with a preview of something he's been hacking together in the past couple of days, and I think it will do a lot of work towards making that package creation journey a hell of a lot easier and far more accessible, explorable for people. Just to be able to say, I want to create a prompt editor, and give people a bit of a head start. Really, that would be really good. And that's not the only thing that Niels has been doing this week. He's actually been quite busy on Twitter asking a bunch of things. So he even asked for people to provide kind of, I wouldn't say like a bugbear list, but a list of the things that people really, if they could have one thing fixed in core, what would it be? And there's hundreds of replies here, and people agreeing and maybe elaborating on certain topics. I really like Jeffrey's one here, this idea that the preview mode banner has been there since like V4 or V3 and probably needs an update from 2008. So maybe make that a little bit more valuable.
Absolutely. Yeah, that did catch my eye. It was a good one.
Yeah, and a couple of things in here just about making stuff more extensible, making stuff more usable, improving documentation, like we said before. And I think they're going to, this was kind of a poll or a vote, and they're going to go away and get all of this information and argue it out between him and Runa, who started last week as product owner, and decide on the kind of things that they're going to be working on.
Yeah. For me, what I think I find really interesting is that the reach out to the community. Community has always been a very strong point and a very key, very valuable USP about Umbraco. The community is very strong, and we are quite passionate, and the HQ communicates with the community. That is all there. But the reach out, again, with the RFCs, transparency about the roadmaps, things like what Niels did this week about the simplest thing that they can fix. I think that really is taking it a step further high. So that is, again, something really nice to see. And actually validates and reinforces the point that community is really at the heart of the product. It is quite it has quite a dependency on each other, the product and the community, which is fantastic to see. So which might lead to more contributors and much more nicer people, geekier people, fun people on board into the community as well as the HQ. Did you see the tweet from Ken about 500 plus accepted PRs?
You are a pro, Polima. Seriously, you're coming up with all the things that we've noted down. Let me just pull that out.
Purposeful, but it was one of the things that caught my eye personally, because I've been, on a number of his PRs. Like, it started with the Hacktoberfest last year, and Ken has been absolutely on top of things, and really nice ones as well. Like last day, I managed to review a PR from him. Again, a good one. So a big high fire to Ken. Keep us all busy in the PR team.
Yeah, exactly.
Reviewing PRs.
Yeah, exactly. Ken has been doing an absolutely awesome job with the CMS, and I think maybe you're absolutely on fire today, Paulina. You're such a pro. I think this is maybe a really good segue to something we discussed last week, which we wanted to have you on to discuss, but we actually had something a bit different planned. Which is Scoop. So this, if correct me if I'm wrong here, this is you've taken an Alexa skill to deliver all of the community news, the Scoop, what's been going on in the Umbraco community. So further integrating technology with people we were just discussing. Can you tell us a little bit about it? I'm going to share the blog post as well at the same time. So what is Scoop?
So Scoop is basically an Alexa skill. So here I'm using just inbuilt functionalities from Umbraco. I'm using Umbraco as the data store. That is where all the news is stored. And then there's an API which calls out the Umbraco instance that I have to deliver the news out into a feed. So basically talking Alexa skill, Google Home, everything is just APIs which are kind of really secure and secured up to the T's and I's where people, which Amazon or Google tells you about. So if I demo, do that. But just a backstory, I started off this while I was thinking that I should probably develop a little quiz kind of thing for my girl, like what is 1 + 1, what comes after 2, that kind of fun things, just to make her understand that learning can be fun. Don't get me wrong here, I'm not advocating any digital medium to keep your kid busy. But I just wanted to prove a point, and it's always nice to use your skills to help your family out. And it was just a fun thing that I wanted to do. But when I started on learning about Alexa skills, I used a Pluralsight course for that. I think I put the links to it in the blog post that I had. It's a very, very good course. I think it takes you from the point of signing up to the Amazon Developer Console to building an app to publishing it. So even the security requirements are quite well covered in that course. Highly recommended for anyone who wants to start on this path. Plus, what I would like to say is that there are not many C# examples that are out there that would help you. So that's
a lot of JavaScript. Am I right? It's a lot of JavaScript.
Node.js and Java based. There are tons of it available. But if you want to really just use C# to deliver your APIs, especially when you reach the security and functional requirements, there's not much reference available. I couldn't find any. All I could find is this Pluralsight course and a GitHub repo. And the security requirements are quite well covered in that. So when I started off learning this, I did realize that delivering a quiz is probably the next level. It's probably sensible to start simple. That is by just doing something very simple, a post request to get some data out. And obviously, I didn't have to think twice. It has to be Umbraco use. And I was quite positive up from the start that data is going to be delivered from Umbraco, because I wanted to just see what more can Umbraco do. And of course, you can just use it for your, however you want it. It's so flexible. So if you let me share my screen.
I think you can just do it.
I don't know whether people can see it.
No, we can't.
Oh.
No. Like I say, technical issues.
Yeah.
How does that go
on? This one.
There we go. Cool.
Okay. So, can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So all it is a list of news items. I keep on top of the Twitter feed and edit it as and when I find something interesting. So it's not too clever at the moment, but anything with like scraping Twitter feeds and doing it that way would have been a lot more work personally, because I'll have to then go and moderate it anyway. So it's probably simpler to just amend it. So what I've been doing is just adding items as and when I see it. So there are a couple of things which Scoop can do, which is it can deliver you the latest news, which is everything. Basically, it gives you the top 10 items which I've added in the descending order of date and time. Then you can ask for meetups. You can ask for the latest packages, and then you can ask for festivals. So these are the 4 items which I initially added. And once it went live, Chris Houston told me, how about adding code garden, how many days to code garden into Scoop. So
Oh,
this
that's cool.
yeah. So this week I'd been working on that. I got the Alexa skill approved for that as well. So I can demo that to you. So
Just wait. Are you gonna say Alexa something? Because last time we did that, it kicked off a bunch of other people's Alexa. So just a heads up before we do this. Tell your Alexa to be quiet or something.
it is quiet but to be honest, that word is the keyword. So the minute it hears it, it just starts up.
Exactly.
So yeah. So that is the backend. It's basically using just out of the box functionality from Umbraco. Where I really hit an dead point is when it came to the security and the validations around it. So initially I had Umbraco and the API and Alexa looking at the Umbraco API itself. But the minute I added security validations to it, everything started failing. And that did give me a few very late nights. But in the end, what I did was I kept Umbraco on its own. And then I had another API in front, and that is now calling out to Umbraco. But ever since that, I have figured out how to do the security in Umbraco itself.
When you say security, do you mean cause policies or like authentication? So
no, it's more than that. So Amazon has a set of list for so this is a custom skill from Amazon. So there's flash briefing, there is the home skills, and there's something else as well. I think it's a video skills. Every skill has a set of requirements, a security requirements, which you need to pass before you can even hit the submit button. I think you can actually hit the submit button, but your skill won't get approved that easily. So there is a validation where you enter in detail what your skill is supposed to do. You enter a logo, you enter your descriptions, your invocations and utterances, and then you have the functional bits. That is where the security comes in, and it's a checklist. It's a very detailed checklist. It's very well documented as well from Amazon. That's one of the really nice things about developing it for Alexa. So I have Umbraco. I have the standalone API, which serves to all these requirements, and then I'm authenticating against this API, the Umbraco API here. So which means that if I ever have to build another, like my quiz, I can add it onto the same instance, and I can just have this controller here, so I can just keep using it. Plus, I want to develop the same thing for Google Home as well, because the skill is quite extensible. So which means, again, I can use the same data store, the same API from Umbraco for it.
That's really cool. And so right now you're managing all of that data in the CMS yourself, I guess. But perhaps in the future, there could be a way of, I don't know, telling the Alexa skill to say, hey, I have some new information for you. Here's the scoop, and put it into Umbraco, because it's just voice interacting with an API, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to do I want to see what clever things are possible, because I don't want to be like constantly on it managing, because that's not the whole point of it. But at the same time, I want to be able to deliver the news and all the fun things about the community as well.
Yeah, I believe, was it last week I cheekily requested, can you get it to say who's on umbraCoffee this week or something?
I usually put it out, but I was in the middle of my day job as well, so I just didn't have the time to put it out myself. But I think the latest one I added was about Ken's 500 plus accepted commits. It had to be on it. There was no way out.
Very, very good. So
one of those things where I found development and coding was really fun. I'm not saying development and coding is not fun, but it has that extra edge, I think. You can actually hear what you've just done.
Yeah, it's true. I there's nothing like spending hours on something and it just not working. You hitting your head against a brick wall because you can't see output or anything. That's me whenever I have to do anything with async programming. It's like, why is this not happening? But yeah, you're totally right. Seeing a visible output quickly is really cool. And of course, the question that everyone will be asking is, how can I build my own Alexa skill? How can I contribute? So how can people contribute? How can people get involved with this?
Of course, there is a real thought in my head that it should be out there on GitHub. The only reason why I haven't done it myself is because I am so tied up with everything else, my day job, and there's the prep coming in for the Swedish festival talk. That's the only thing keeping me busy. But I promise I will write a post about it. I will put a code out on GitHub probably once soon after the Swedish festival thing is done, or even before. I just want to nail that before I just take my eyes away, because this is how do I say, this is quite an involved thing. Once you start off, there's no end to it.
Yeah,
it can be
it's
really
quite addictive as well. When you get little ideas and you want to go, oh, I could build that. That's possible. That's possible. You start, doing all kinds of crazy things.
Absolutely.
Maybe now we've been talking about a bit of news. Let's just go to some of the news from this week. There was some a few big-ish things. We had a new Umbraco release, 8.1.2. Have you upgraded all of your websites to it yet?
No.
No. I think maybe just the people on cloud and a few special cases will have upgraded. But yeah, it's out with some bug fixes. I guess this is going to mark the start now of the semi-regular updates to the CMS, and we'll be people getting those every couple of weeks. Shannon released Articulate 4.1, and I believe this is a lot of community involvement in this one. It's up on NuGet at the minute. We have, I'm pretty sure there's not a week that goes by where Mario isn't mentioned in the packages section of umbraCoffee, but conditional displays, which was for V7, has now V2 for V8 as of yesterday or a couple of days ago, which is awesome. Image filter from Paul Seal. This is one of those that was actually entered into the content app competition back in January, February time, before V8 launched, for the Code Garden one, where Preflight actually ended up winning. But this was a really cool app to edit your images in the CMS, and like applying filters and rotating and doing crazy stuff like that. And I believe it's had some updates this week too. So high five to Paul and Nick for that one. What else?
There was another one from Paul on similar lines, isn't it? It was again a content app, I think, where you could just upload a picture of a PDF or something and it takes the text.
Yes, there was. I'm not sure if that's had an update in a little while.
No,
I'm not. That was the Lewis or something. The cognitive services thing to extract data out and drop on there. Yeah, that's another fantastic content app from Paul. Paul's also on fire. Everyone's on fire.
Absolutely.
What else? Tabify has had a small update, a really nice usability improvement, whereby I think people maybe we've got a video of it. No, maybe not. The tabs float as you scroll, which is nice. So if you've got a pretty large tab, you can navigate between them easily. What else have we got? Ooh, okay. This is a really nice story about just how the community comes together. So earlier in the week, did you see Arnold tweeted saying, "Hey, has anyone made a Maps property editor for V8? I just want to have a Google map where I can put a pin on it." And people went, "Oh no, the popular packages for that aren't available yet." And Arnold said, well, in the time we've been waiting, I've just knocked one together. I've built a very rough version. Maybe I'll release it at some point. And a few of us, including me, said, just release it. It's fine if it's not perfect. Just get it out there. And he did. He's put it up on his GitHub. So high five you rock to Arnold for that one as well.
Yeah.
And ooh, okay. This is a big one. And I know Eric's watching. Hey, Eric. This is hundreds of files changed here. Look at that. That's a lot of that. But he has migrated new pickers over to V8 with a pretty hefty pull request. But yeah, that's awesome. Awesome news. Another massive package that was very popular on V7 and I guess is going to be very popular on V8 too. High five you up to Eric. I think that's kind of it I had from package news. You already mentioned in your news that there's barbecues going on. There's a barbecue happening right here today in Denmark at Umbraco HQ tonight. The weather is typically Danish, and it's not sunny. But I think you've got nicer weather there, Purnima. But it wasn't the case last week, was it? When we had our London barbecue, because the weather was awful. As
well, we just bucketed down for like 5 minutes, and that is it. So we were saved. Beyond that, when we got to the point of cooking, the rain stayed away. So that's we were saved.
Yeah, I mean, we did get a couple of nice pictures of people grilling food outside, but I'm pretty damn sure we spent most of the time inside, sadly. But there was a quiz, which was good fun. It was an impossible quiz made by Ravi. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see the answers, because you said at the
I can give you the answers.
when we had a chat that probably you'll have to work out the questions based on the answers. I'm quite keen to see the answers.
This is the thing. I can give you the answers, but still the questions don't make any sense. This is the case with all of the quizzes that Ravi has ever done. If anyone has not experienced one, he does a Christmas quiz every year, and it's really tough. This was one of the toughest I've seen. I might get a few of those questions out for the Danish barbecue later here.
Good idea. Very good idea.
Yeah. Some quick fire final things then from this week. Did you see a small security advisory from a package this time? So not from Core. This was quite a popular package, UGuardian, which is a security thing, but there was a few issues with it. And I saw that Umbraco have actually been proactive about fixing up their sites on cloud, or identifying sites on cloud where they've been running this, and making sure that they're fixed, which is a massive. It's fantastic. Like you don't really get that from many providers. So good job to Umbraco. Oh, right. Okay. Again, not a week goes by without us talking about Kevin Jump, but he's also on fire at the moment. Have you seen this?
Yes, I was wondering where did this go.
Yeah, this is so cool. So Usync Publisher is like Umbraco Deploy. Am I right? I think it is.
It looks like so.
Where you just select a bunch
to see it in action.
Yes.
More than what it does here.
It looks so cool, and it looks so slick, and I really look forward to playing with this. If Kevin wants to come on and give a demo, that would be amazing.
Yes, please, Kevin.
He is doing awesome work with this. And speaking of awesome work, accessibility team have been busy over the summer. Look how many things we have in this Trello board, and look how many things are merged or in review. There's like 22 items in that review column. Still a lot to do though, so if people want to get involved, there's a nice Trello board which we'll share the link to down below. Yeah. Oh, okay. Did you see yesterday it was very late last night that it was posted. Did you see Anders Bjarne tweeted it was a Dropbox upload for the media library, so you can upload from Dropbox or Google Drive an image, which is really cool. We've not seen a package yet. It's kind of a work in progress, but I'd also love to see that one. I believe he's coming to the barbecue tonight, so I might get a little in-person demo if I can.
Yeah. There was a piece of documentation as well, which came out, I think, day before yesterday from Warren, back office.
I love this. This is fantastic. Not only because actually this is the first time I've even seen the task runner code being created. I know before in Umbraco you had to configure like scheduled tasks in the task scheduler. It's a bit of a pain, but this looks really clean. At least for me as a developer, I like the look of this. And
absolutely.
Really well documented, and I actually really look forward to having a good play with that, because yeah, that's really cool. Another high five you rock to Warren.
There are some really nice pieces of documentation in the documentation repository. I think it's people who are keen, I think it's very well worth having a look at the pull requests. Sometimes you might get some really nice hints of that. So yesterday I was looking at the how to access Umbraco Helper when you have your services and all kind of dependency injection related stuff. So I found this nice piece of documentation where you actually get the context query, which is essentially doing what Umbraco Helper does. So the documentation aspect is building on our .umbraco, so which is quite nice to see, given that V8 is like a world different from V7.
Yeah, it is quite different, but you're right. The docs are getting there, and with community help, of course.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It rely on the community to find the things that are missing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's
I had one more thing to share actually from this week, and it was something that Niels replied to, saying "ooh la la," and we know something's good when he says "ooh la la." It is granular permissions for users at a content type level. So you can say this user can or can't access nodes of these types, which or even more granular than that, can create, can update, which is really cool. I assume this is going to be a pull request because it looks like it's deeply integrated into the back office, but that will be a really awesome addition to V8, I think, if and when that comes from Tobias.
Yes, that looks nice because permissions can always be confusing, and there is easily a way you can actually get really over the top with that as well. So the efforts that goes, anyone who submits a pull request anywhere related to permissions, I think they're doing an awesome job. High five to all.
High fives all around this week.
Yeah.
What are your plans for this weekend, Purnima? I guess you said you're quite busy, so maybe taking a bit of a break from building Alexa skills.
A lot of things. I'm a mom, so I am always on my toes. So think tomorrow, maybe a movie, take my kid out. Uniform shopping.
Oh, that sounds great. Maybe you can build a bot or something to deal with all of that.
Oh, how I wish. How I wish.
Amazing. I'll be enjoying the barbecue here today, rain or shine, and I'll tweet some pictures so everyone can get jealous. But yeah, that's my weekend. I think that's a really good note to end on too.
Absolutely. So a big hug and hi to everyone at the HQ. And I think I've had fun in this episode.
Yeah, it's been about a year since we had you on, so we'll get you back sooner.
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Have a great weekend, everyone watching live. Sorry about the technical issues, but Marcin's away and he broke YouTube. No, cool. Well,
That would be awesome if he has the powers to do that.
Yeah, Marcin controls YouTube. We'll see everyone next week on umbraCoffee when I believe Marcin will be back.
Yes.
And we can return to normal, less chaotic programming. Cool.
Bye.
Have a good weekend.
Bye, Callum.